Welcome to another Foolish Thoughts episode. This is Joseph Barone, aka A Fool for Learning, and our foolish thought for today is observe in a stealth manner, a true training story. A few years ago, I was conducting a class, and while I was conducting this class, the training coordinator unexpectedly entered the room. She immediately walked to the front of the room while I was conducting the session, stood about 3 feet away from me, and in addition to the training coordinator, was my co instructor. Now, to be honest, I was really a bit taken aback by all this, but I continued to teach the class as normally and as much as possible as if nothing happened. And as I said, they literally stood about 3 feet away from me, carefully listening and watching to everything I said. Of course, this caught the attention of most of the participants and probably raised questions in the minds of some of them. It seems that my co instructor believed that I said something that was incorrect, immediately left the room, got the training coordinator, and they came into my session. At the end of the class, after most of the participants had left, the coordinator questioned me about my incorrect statement. Now, the objective of this episode is not whether or not I said something correct or incorrect, but it is the manner by which the training coordinator came in to observe me. Now, if you are planning on observing a trainer, and I've observed many, many trainers over the years, do so in a manner that does not make your presence known, unless the instructor is doing something or stating something that is going to put the health and safety of the participants in jeopardy. If possible, enter at the back of the room so that the participants do not notice you. And if you need to move closer so that you can better observe, don't stand right next to the instructor, unless, again, the health and safety of the participants is at stake. Stand off to the side. Standing right next to the instructor not only throws him or her off, but also distracts the participants. And finally, if possible, discuss the situation with the instructor only after all the participants have left the class. Nothing puts doubt in a participant's mind about the training they received from hearing hearing from someone in charge that the instructor may have done something wrong. So always be as stealthy as possible when observing and reviewing when the participants are not around. Now, for those of you who are interested, here is the rest of the story. You see, it seems that my co trainer was much younger and much more inexperienced. And as I was watching her earlier in the class, she said something that was incorrect. I attempted to correct her from the back of the classroom, shaking my head no so that she could correct herself before going further down the rabbit hole of the class. Now, none of the participants noticed me shaking my head, but instead of remaining silent, she insisted out loud that she was correct and that I was incorrect. And as I didn't want to make more of a scene than it had become, I said, okay, and I left it at that. Now, it should be noted that the next day, this instructor, this younger and more inexperienced instructor, came in and admitted to me that I was correct and that she was incorrect. But even though she admitted to me this, I guess she was so insulted by it that for the rest of the time we were working together, which was about another 3, 4 weeks, she refused to say hello, goodbye, even to acknowledge me. So I just simply ignored her. Now, let's get back to the rest of the story. And as mentioned earlier, my coworker, much more younger and inexperienced, while I was conducting my training session, believed that I said something wrong, ran out to the training coordinator, got the training coordinator, both came into my classroom, stood right next to me about 3 feet away, watching and observing everything I said. When the class was over, the training coordinator corrected me and point blank told me that I was wrong in what I said. At this point, I said to her, I'm quoting exactly from the training manual. And I pulled out the manual. I showed her the exact page, the exact paragraph, and the exact sentence. And what the training coordinator told me was, yes, you are correct on what the manual states, but the manual is not exactly correct on the topic. So I said to her three basic things. I said, number one, if I am incorrect, why was I not corrected during the pilot sessions? That would have been the appropriate time to tell me that what I was saying was wrong. Two, why hasn't the manual been updated? Okay, and why hasn't the manual been updated? And three, what do you want me to tell the participants exactly? Which, in my opinion, is really the most important point. And the response from the training coordinator was, the manual needs to be updated, and she immediately left the classroom, followed by the other trainer. Nothing else. All I could do was just simply shake my head and pray for patience until the assignment was completed. So, what's today's basic message? There are two basic messages here. First, if you're going to observe training, do it in a stealth manner. Let no one else know you're there, if at all possible, except for the trainer. Second, if you're going to correct an instructor, then ensure that you can explain not only why the instructor is wrong, but what is the correct message for the instructor to convey to the participants. Just my foolish thoughts for today. And if you learned something from this episode, and I hope you did, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, or even share with a friend. This is Joseph Barone, aka A Fool for Learning, signing out. Remember, learn, perform, succeed.